Live on Joy 99.7 FM in Accra, on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, and over 30 affiliates across the country. Good evening and welcome to News Night.
And coming up tonight, National Peace Council cites the use of social media by factions to spread hate speech, which is fueling the Bawku conflict, as it lauds President Mahama for his commitment to ending the decade-old feud.
We have to find ways of containing hate language, hate speeches that are spread through the social media and even through some of the traditional media platforms.
Mahama's upcoming engagement with the Asantehene Otumfuo set to do the second this weekend, as he sends a strong signal about his commitment to secure lasting peace in Bawku.
Nanado gave me a hint that Otumfuo has been playing some role, and so I'm supposed to be with Otumfuo. So when I go, it's one of the issues I'll discuss with him.
We'll also hear from the former defense minister as he asks government to do whatever it takes to gain the trust of the various factions in the conflict, adding that military deployments alone is not enough.
So security personnel will have a lot in the area, but keeping peace in Bawku, I can say, goes beyond just the deployment of security. First thing every government will have to ensure is that the two parties would have to give trust to you.
Well, tonight we also put the spotlight on President John Dramani Mahama's regional ministerial nominees and their ability to tackle the region's unique challenges. Now, also coming up, IDEC intensified calls for partisan election of MMDCs following post-election survey where 75% of respondents expressed dissatisfaction in their local representatives addressing their key developmental challenges.
And then the parties would also be held accountable and they will compete actively. We've tried one system, it hasn't given us the results we need satisfactorily. Can we try others?
Also coming up, fire service establishes dedicated fire units in markets as it deploys a task force to all markets whose duty will be to patrol the markets at night and conduct risk assessments.
Is to ensure that this market task force is really activated. The market task force is going to conduct risk assessment.
Prepared to pay more for fuel prices in the coming months. You have details for you in 30 minutes.
And in sports, former GFA Executive Council member Sekwe Kupama joined calls for an overhaul of the Black Stars technical team and insisting there is no justification to keep them at post.
And later, scrap dealers reclaimed demolished Agbogboloshi markets, and they are confident of the NDC support.
They removed us forcefully, but did nothing on the land. It is turned to rubbish dump, nothing else. Yeah, it was very bushy. I'll give you videos. Initially, we couldn't even come here to stand, as we are standing here. So we are here because we were here, and the government of the day, I think, will support our businesses.
We have details of that and more here on Newsnight. My name is Faustina Saf, and I'm doing this with
Kenneth Jesse. Details after the break.
You're listening to Newsnight. Share your thoughts with us on 055-1111-997. Now, let's start from Bawku, Ken, where the President John Dramani Mahama spent his day yesterday meeting with the leaders there and stakeholders, as well as feuding factions. Now, he will be spending a lot more time there following his resolve to ensure that he permanently halts the age-old conflict there.
And today, he made public his intention to engage the Asantehene on the matter. Note that this will not be the first time the Asantehene has been involved in the matter. We'll drill down deeper into that shortly, but here's a quick recap of events yesterday and reactions.
For decades, the Bawku conflict has become one of the major security challenges for successive governments. President John Dramani Mahama, on his first visit to the area on Tuesday, after getting a renewed second term in office, has affirmed his vow in an interaction with the people to end the crisis.
During the campaign, I stated that if God granted our desire and I was elected president, bringing peace to Bawku was going to be one of my number one priorities. And so I decided to come and assure you that we're going to work very hard to make sure that we bring peace back to Bawku.
But how does John Mahama intend getting it right this time around?
We will do the appointments of the Minister of Defense, the Minister of Interior, the National Security Advisor, the National Security Coordinator, the BNI Director, and all the others. And when these appointments are made, I'm going to charge them to make Bawku one of the number one priorities that they attend and deal with.
Security expert Dr. Vladimir Nchidanso and Dr. Victor Doke believe President Mahama's move to prioritize the matter is laudable, as they urge him to also activate the Bawku Nairi Peace Committee once again to facilitate the process.
Prioritizing security and linking it up with our democracy is very, very important. So this mission is very, very important. Immediately he appoints those security heads, the Minister for Chieftaincy, they should ensure through the National Peace Council that the Bawku Nairi Peace Committee is revived again.
Hopes are high now for John Mahama to find a permanent solution to the Bawku crisis. James Savage's report for Joy News.
Well, Faustina, we've been hearing from the National Peace Council, which has also been lauding the president's commitment and timely intervention. The council also cautions against the use of social media to spread hate speech. George Amo is the executive secretary of the National Peace Council, and he spoke to Blessed Soga on PM Express last night.
We have to find ways of containing hate language, hate speeches that are spread through the social media and even through some of the traditional media platforms.
Is that becoming a common trend where the feuding factions are now resorting to social media?
Yes, they do. They do, and as latest as I think 2 days ago, like I've said, I received a post, and I mean the content is not good. So we have to do all that we can, but the signal is very important. The president has begun very well. I think we have to keep the momentum, try to bring everybody on board. I can tell you the spoilers are there. There are, we will call them conflict peace building spoilers. They are there, and the conflict entrepreneurs. They are all waiting to see what will happen. So I think the president has started very well. He should keep to this, get ministers and chief executives who would prosecute the agenda in the strongest term that he can. And I am very confident that Bawku will return to peaceful ways.
Well, Kenneth, on the same show, the former Defense Minister Dominic Intiwu asked government to do whatever it takes to gain the trust of the various factions in the conflict.
When it comes to the security itself, we have a lot of security reinforcement in Bawku area. So it's not about the numbers. It's not also about the equipment. In fact, for the armed forces in particular, I did make sure that we have a lot of equipment in Bawku. And not just that we expanded the entire barracks in Bawku. And the Honorable confirmed that. So security personnel, we have a lot in the area. But keeping peace in Bawku, I can say, goes beyond just the deployment of security or the deployment of equipment, as well as the present security sources. It depends. It's a lot will depend, and it's going to depend on the people themselves, the two factions. The first thing every government will have to ensure is that the two parties will have to give trust to you that you are an impartial arbiter and that you have no direct interest. If they suspect anything, you are going to face problems. And I think that issue came over and over and over again. The Honorable MP has been very helpful, especially during my time, in trying to give me information, give me leads, and my colleagues to see how we can resolve the Bawku matter, because nobody wants this issue. Even one life lost in Bawku or any part of Ghana, it's not good. So the situation in Bawku is that when it comes to the security services, yes, we have enough security services personnel there. We have equipment there. We have the logistics there. We've been spending on there, as you mentioned, the figures that are there. But we need to do more.
Well, the former Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs Minister, Ken Stephen Asamoah Boateng, has also been advising the President John Dramani Mahama against appointing a regional minister for the Upper East region from any of the two feuding factions. Now, he also has been detailing what exactly his government did to resolve the crisis so far.
The people who are appointed must be very carefully selected. The people who speak on the matter must be carefully evaluated.
We'll bring you that sound shortly, but Ken, it does appear that the current government may take off from where the previous government ended. President John Dramani Mahama is set to visit the Asantehene, the Otumfuo Osei II this weekend, possibly just to involve him in the peace talks. We'll be listening to the president shortly, but let me just bring you that sound that I promised to bring you of Stephen Asamoah Boateng giving an advice to John Dramani Mahama.
Politically, they were undertones. And so, me being a politician as well, but we must take ourselves and give it back to the chiefs. And so we then handed over the responsibility of finding the peace led by Otumfuo, the Asantehene, Otumfuo Osei II. First of all, don't appoint a native of the Bawku or the Kusak to be the regional minister. That's number one. Don't do it. It's emotional subject. And the native always, if you are not careful, have some emotions with it. I almost succeeded. Unfortunately, somehow Abagri found himself in Bawku, and that erupted before we left office.
We can now listen to President John Dramani Mahama, who has served notice that he will be visiting the Asantehene as he looks at resolving the issue at Bawku.
I just came to appeal to him to exercise restraint and patience, and his subjects to exercise restraint and patience, and trust that we will resolve this matter amicably. So I'm just appealing to my father that they should exercise patience while I set up the government. So as soon as that is done, we might have to invite my father, but I cannot sit in Accra and invite him. I have to come and alert him in advance that an invitation like that will come. In my last briefing with Nana Akufo-Addo before he left office, he briefed me about some mediation efforts that they were undertaking. I wish to be able to discuss it with him and see how we can continue that effort. I know that he and the late Yebonra and Otumfuo were the ones who solved the Dagon problem. Nanado gave me a hint that Otumfuo has been playing some role. And so I'm supposed to be with Otumfuo on the 19th of this month. So when I go, it's one of the issues I'll discuss with him. And whatever comes out of it, I will inform my father.
Well, that was President John Dramani Mahama. A year ago, the Asantehene Otumfuo Osei II outlined his intervention in the conflict when the former chieftaincy minister asked for his intervention.
Bawku eguso afenia buso enu omodi afena me be share yin na ye de abotra na nokura de ha obia ma mo bi eka obi abakana asem ni eti.
I am still on the Bawku issue. I have called all factions separately, in peace and in truth. We will sit and listen to the issues. Both factions will be allowed to speak out, so we solve the issues. Already, I have spoken to the leaders of the factions and other relevant persons. Some have submitted documents to be studied, so we will look into all of that. We will all sit in one room and solve the issues. I have asked them to lay down their weapons.
Well, let's head to the Upper East region now and speak to our resident correspondent, Albert Sorry, for more on this Bawku issue. Albert, the president was in town yesterday to initiate talks towards lasting peace. What is the talk in town after he left?
Yes, so one of the major things you find people talking about is how swiftly the president visited Bawku just about 1 week after he was sworn in. For many people, this is an indication of how seriously he is taking this Bawku matter. Of course, the party supporters and people in Bawku gathered to receive him because they are one of the first people to meet the president since he was sworn in. So there's renewed hope, basically.
Now, Albert, Various experts and also former appointees, they've all cautioned against the appointment of members of the feuding factions as regional minister. I'm just wondering what you're learning about Akamugri. Apart from him just being a party executive, what else are you picking?
Yeah, so Donatus Akamugri also hails from the Bongo district, which makes him someone who will be seen as neutral because Bongo people are generally Frafra people, and because of that, he will be seen as somebody who is neither supporting the Kusasis nor the Mampusis in the Boko conflict. And because of this, he is likely to be seen as a very neutral party. But of course, it normally depends on what the people feel about the work that you are doing, because past ministers have come in, and some of them really were also neutral if you look at where they came from. But somehow, some of the people in the factions often had issues with how they are handling certain things, and that makes them feel that there is some sort of bias against them. So it will depend on how Donatus Akamugri is going to handle things when he finally gets into office.
Interesting one there, but what has been the reaction to his appointment in Bawku?
This morning, we spoke to a few residents in the area, and they are waiting to see what new ideas he's going to bring on board, what new strategies he is going to adapt. But the few people that we spoke with, you get the general sense that they are hopeful that he'll be able to, play a neutral role in terms of how he will mediate and also the security measures that will be taken to bring lasting peace to the area.
Right, Albert Sori is our Upper East regional correspondent there. Thank you very much. But let's now focus on President Mahama's nominations of regional ministers, and his first batch of regional ministerial nominees are out. However, the nominees are faced with unique challenges that require them to be strategic and decisive in their decisions. Key is Greater Accra region being the most populous region, while the Upper East region takes center stage due to the ongoing Boko conflict. My colleague Mami Esinya Mitchell Thompson takes a look at the challenging roles confronting the nominees in the following report.
From tackling urban congestion and unemployment to resolving long-standing conflicts and restoring development, the nominees are stepping into roles that demand strategic leadership. Linda Obenewa Akwele Oklu is nominated to the Greater Accra region. She entered Parliament on the ticket of the NDC following the tragic death of her husband, William Oklu, in 2017, and retained her seat in the 2020 and 2024 general elections. Even before her nomination, she was sure of being rewarded.
I mean, apart from my Gizo that was given a ministerial appointment, we haven't had any minister. So I'm looking forward to the President-elect, President John Dramani Mahama, that he will consider Shayo Sudoku. And I'll be one of the first ministers if I'm being appointed.
As a professional economist, banker, and insurer, would she be able to navigate key challenges such as land grabbing and land disputes, overpopulation, housing deficits, filth, public health, and security concerns? The task ahead is great as she fills the shoes of predecessors Ni Amashite, Shekai Sikwe, Ishmael Ashite, Henry Korte, and Daniel Ni Kwate Titus Glover. But even before she is vetted, she intends to prioritize road construction, electrification, water, and other social development projects in her constituency. The Upper East region is the 8th biggest region in the country, with a population of about 1.3 million. A key reason making this region very dear to this administration is the Boko conflict. President Mahama is determined to bring peace to the area. To help him navigate this complex crisis, his ministerial nominee, Donatus Akamugri Akanga, he served as Upper East Regional Secretary of the NDC since 1998 and courted the trust of the party base and residents alike. He hails from Bongo and is seen as a neutral party mediating the conflict.
I think he's somebody who is matured and a grown person. He has so much inside about the conflict.
For me, as a son of the Upper East region, someone from Bongo to be precise, I know and hope that concerning our Bawku conflict, I know that he's someone that can work together with all the tribes.
Northeast Region's Ibrahim Tia, if confirmed, may have to focus on infrastructure development. For the Eastern Region's nominee, Mrs. Rita Akosua Ajay Awate, will have to face head-on illegal mining, chieftaincy disputes, and youth unemployment. The Oti region's unique challenges, coupled with the absence of consistent parliamentary representation over the last 4 years, require the new nominee, James Kwadwo Japon, to focus his attention on infrastructural deficit, sanitation and water issues. The Ahafo region's charity gardener, Savannah's Salisu Awuribi, Northern region's Ali Adolf John, and Volta region's James Gunu will all have to face similar challenges head-on if confirmed by Parliament after their vetting. Mamesi Nyamiche Thompson for Joy News.
Well, Kenneth, we still have a lot of reactions, and in the Ashanti region, residents expect the minister designate to prioritize the completion of ongoing projects and drive developmental projects as well in the region. Well, here's Anabuachi Yadu with a report.
Taking over from the likes of the Honorable Simon Osei Mensah and the Honorable Samuel Sapon, alongside Madam Elizabeth Ajeman, President John Dramani Mahama has nominated the young Dr. Frank Amwakohene as the Ashanti Regional Minister designate. Dr. Frank Amwakohene, who is the current Secretary of the NDC in the Ashanti region, is expected to steer the affairs on behalf of government in the region. Today we took to the streets of the Ashanti region to engage people on how Dr. Frank Amwakohene can drive development. Eugene Osei-Tutu shares how Dr. Frank Amwakohene, with his young age, can drive development into the Ashanti region.
I think that he has the necessary experience, being a parliamentary candidate for Mampong constituency, being the regional secretary of the party in the region, clearly demonstrates that he has some gravitas and some grassroots mobilization and appeal. When you follow his social media, you can see he enjoys a good camaraderie with the rank and file of the party. He's now the regional minister, meaning the activities go beyond the party organization and secretariatship or the job that requires administrative job at the office. I think that he has what it takes to do that. He has a lot of experience. The regional minister, his predecessor, is alive. He has the likes of Samuel Sapon, who is also an astute figure in the Ashanti politics of the NDC, also alive. He has a lot of people to build on their institutional memory to do this, the various projects. The Agenda 111 there, MPP promised 16 for the Ashanti region. One, as you know, was completed, which is the one. There are about 15 of them to go. We also have some hospitals that are, still not operationalized. For example, the Seria Hospital, which is supposed to be the regional hospital. We have the 500-bed Afari Military Hospital and all that. I think that he has the necessary camaraderie and base to be able to do well as Ashanti regional minister. So let's see what he will do.
But even before he goes through vetting, Dr. Frank Amwakohene believes that there is an uphill task ahead. He has visited the Ashanti Regional Coordinating Council, where he says that he will prosecute the Honorable Simon Osei Mensah for neglecting the presidential villa.
Looking that this is a government facility and everything here belongs to the government of Ghana. And as such, with a presidential villa, what happens here is that it's the state security that provides security for us, i.e. Ghana police and then the military. So to my surprise, how could they remove frames, air conditions, furniture and all this from the residents without the Ghana police taking notice of such movement and such looting right here in the residence? So it calls to question the loyalty of even civil servants to the Republic of Ghana. So it goes beyond what the politician does. There is an estate manager, an estate engineer. There is someone who keeps the keys to these buildings. And to my surprise, there is someone who is employed and being paid with taxpayers' money. So if we had left the place without even someone keeping the keys, it would be better off. We wouldn't pay salaries, let alone to even spend on anybody for us to come and meet the buildings in the state. So you see, we're going to launch an investigation into all this, because one, it will interest us to know how the regional minister had a residence. Did he pay to stay there as a private person, or the state still had to pay him to rent a residence outside of the RCC, whilst there is one here that has been left unkept for the past 8 years.
With the nomination of Dr. Frank Amwakohene, residents are expecting that numerous road projects, markets and other promises made by the previous government, including hospitals and interchanges, will be completed by the NDC government. For Joy News, my name is Nana Bwachidankwa Kumase.
Or you're still listening to Newsnight, remember to share your thoughts with us on 055-1111-997. Still to come, we'll take you to Agbopoloshi Market here in the Greater Accra region, where scrap dealers have already started reclaiming the demolished property. They say they are confident of the NDC support, and we'll tell you all about that after business. George Riafi joins me in the studio. George, what should we expect?
Well, expected from Friday, fuel prices are likely to go up marginally. But hold that one variable constant. Now, going forward for the first quarter, you're also likely to see other reviews as well, prices going up. And I'll be telling you more why we should be looking forward to further adjustments in prices of petroleum products at the pumps. And the Ghana Scout Service begins stakeholder engagement as it works to review how it forward for this year. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, Sinter's Thanks, and Pepsodent Herbal and Charcoal. You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, I expect to pay more for prices of petroleum products in the coming weeks. That is, if the current pressure on the Ghana cedi is sustained, while prices of crude oil on the international market continues to rise. Chief Executive of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, Dr. Rivison Opon, is now making the case for government to take a second look at some of the levies on the various petroleum products.
I believe as a government, something can be done to, in one way or the other, stabilize the pricing regime. Okay. One thing you need to understand is that today the pricing of petroleum products are deregulated, fully deregulated. So you don't expect an OMC to buy crude oil product from a BDC at a higher price and sell at a lower price, thinking that the government is going to intervene. Everything is a pass-through cost. Today, there is energy debt recovery levy, there is energy fund levy. There are so many levies surrounding the energy sector, which the downstream has no role in it. You understand? Why are we putting all those levies in the petroleum prices? I am urging the new government to look at the pricing policy and, if possible, take some of the levies from it so that the population will enjoy from an affordable fuel going forward.
And that is the Chief Executive of the Chamber of Oil Marketing Companies, Dr. Rivison Opon. Meanwhile, the Bank of Ghana today sold some $20 million to the bulk importers of petroleum products. Now, this is to help these companies with important finished petroleum products for the market. Now, the program, that is, the Bank of Ghana has used this initiative to actually assure the importers that they can have access to dollars when they need to import their products into the country. However, $1 was actually sold around 14 Ghana cedis, 94 pesos. It shows that price that they sold the dollars to these importers has been going up over the past days. Two other stories. The African Center for Energy Policy is calling for the commercialization of bulk oil storage and transportation company, as well as listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange. The center believes that this might be one of the surest ways to deal with the supply challenges that has hit the country and also ensure that there is some accountability in the institution. Kojo Yaoche is policy lead at the African Center for Energy Policy, and he has been speaking at a press conference on Ghana's downstream petroleum sector.
The market we operate now shows that we do not need bust. Or if we continue to have bust, then we should commercialize it and list it on the stock exchange. This will ensure transparency and accountability in bust operations while reducing the burden on consumers. That's another 12 pesos kicked out of the payment. Thirdly,
Kojo Yaoche is the policy leader at the African Center for Energy Policy. The Ghana Statistical Service has begun a stakeholder engagement to review how it measures inflation going forward in the country to bring in other items and instruments to make it more relevant to current developments on the economy. According to the Statistical Service, this is very crucial in order to have a better approach in calculating the rate. Here's data scientist at the Ghana Statistical Service, Simon Chibubu.
What we did basically was to identify items in the inflation basket which actually drive the rate we report every month. And how did we do that? We looked out for items that have standardized unit of measurement. We look at the percentage change in these items from 2018 to 2024. And by so doing, we were able to compute the net effect of each of these items per month and then did a ranking. And out of that, we were able to identify some 15 items appearing in the top 15 ranked items over the period.
Data scientist at the Ghana Statistical Service, Simon Chinotab Oliamo. Two other stories, and the manager in charge of strategy and operations at accounting firm KPMG, Annie Edu-Forson, has urged businesses to adopt digital platforms to enhance customer management. She spoke on Joy Businesses Advisory Series, that is the 2-week program aimed at equipping small businesses with financial and business development insights for the new year. That is the Joy Business Dialogue.
There are various ways in which businesses can adopt digital platforms. So you find that there are a lot of toolkits. So let's say accounting software. And that becomes important because you can then tell in terms of sales, which of my products is selling the highest. Should I offer some discounts? Should I offer loyalty benefits to some customers based on that? So you find that it's very key. I know that Winston comes here every Wednesday, every Friday. Oh, good afternoon, Winston. How are you? How was your day? It starts with that. That is also customer experience. We also have very basic tools like Microsoft Excel, for instance, if you can't really afford the more advanced CRM tools, for instance. So it's then saying, how do we use what we have to enhance the experience?
Annie Edu-Forson is manager in charge of strategy and operations at accounting firm KPMG. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock on the marketplace. And joining us to be engaging the manager of advisory at KPMG, that is Ezekiel Akpa, as you look at unlocking business opportunities with the adoption of modern technology. And it's at 1 p.m. on Joy News Marketplace for more analysis on how you can pick some golden nuggets on how to grow your business and strategize for the new year. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you, Fosti and Kenneth.
Thank you so much, George, for bringing us that update. Now, starting tonight, the fire service will deploy dedicated task forces to patrol markets at night and conduct risk assessment. It all forms part of their effort to prevent the devastating effects of fires. Now, the fire service has initiated the deployment of personnel to markets nationwide. The divisional officer, Grade 2, Desmond Aka, who is actually the service PRO, says that these teams will work to mitigate the risk, and they'll be working mostly at night.
We want to deploy as many as possible of our personnel to help us to be able to deal with this incessant market fires, especially where we are having this challenge or has to do with these makeshift market structures where it is not properly planned, and the predominant structures are wooden and they are closely knit to each other. Illegal wiring connection is very rife in some of these markets. So what we want to do differently from what we've been doing in times past is to ensure that this market task force is really activated so that they get to the doorsteps of these traders. Again, the market task force is going to conduct risk assessment in some of these markets such that the hazards will be identified, the risks will be mitigated so that in effect, the collaboration between us and the market managers as well as the various stakeholders within the market space will work closely to mitigate all these challenges, whereby we are even directing the managers of this market to contract certified competent electricians or electrical engineers to be able to help them put in their wiring installations in order.
Well, meanwhile, the Ghana National Fire Service is urging government to expedite the procurement of fire tenders as many were out of service as of June 2024. Desmond Aka noted that the service has managed to repair several tenders using its limited resources.
We have not hidden it from Ghanaians. Since, let's say, for the past 3 years, we've been talking about the fact that we are challenged. And we've made our case known to government and the good people of this country that we don't have it all. And as I speak, a place like Upper West, where we had 12 of these vehicles down, now we have all of them back on the road. Some of the faults were dysfunctional radiators, brakes, beacon lights and all that. So the faults ranges from minor to major. So for all the tenders in Upper West, all of them are back on commission, in commission. OT, 8 tenders were out of commission as at that time. As I speak with you, 3 of them are back on road. Efforts are being put in place to repair the remaining fire tenders. And
it's now time for sports, and Razak Musbao is here with the latest.
Yes, Kenneth. Well, former Executive Council member of the Ghana Football Association, Kweku Palmer, has been speaking to Joy Sports, and he believes that the former Borussia Dortmund coach, Otto Addo, and Curry Black Stars coach, has not done enough to keep his post as the gaffer of the senior national team, and he needs to be sacked. Well, Otto Addo has endured a very disappointing start to life on his second come, winning just 2 of his 10 games since his appointment. Well, Palmer, he believes that the FA should take a decision regarding the coach and not wait for a directive from the government. He further told Joy Sports that he's hoping that they will live up to the expectation and make sure a verdict is passed on Otto Addo's performance even before the Black Stars' next World Cup qualifying game in March. Away from Otto Addo, President of the Ghana Football Association, Kete Kweku, has filed nomination to contest for a seat on the CAF Executive Committee. My colleague Muftar Nabila has more on this very story.
Kete Okreku, who ran unopposed for the seat on the CAF Executive Committee representing Wafu Zone B. Sources indicate that Jibril Hamidou, president of the Niger Football Federation and the current Wafu Zone B representative on the CAF Executive Committee, is vying for a position on the FIFA Council. This development follows an agreement reached in March 2021 when Mr. Okreku withdrew his bid for the CAF Executive Committee position. At the time, he reportedly agreed to allow Mr. Hamidou to continue as the Wafu Zone B representative on the EXCO, while Okreku assumed the presidency of Wafu Zone B. As a result of the agreement, Mr. Hamidou secured a seat on the CAF Executive Committee, while Kete Okreku took over the leadership of the regional bloc. For this year's elections, Joy Sports understands that Mr. Okreku has secured the unanimous backing of Wafu Zone B members to represent the bloc at the CAF highest decision-making table. Similarly, the bloc is also fully supporting Mr. Hamidou's bid for the FIFA Council seat.
Well, that's my colleague Muftar Nabila there, and Kete Kweku looks certain to, be on the CAF Executive Committee. Good news for Ghana football. And happening, I think it's just about an hour from now is the big game between Tottenham Hotspur and Arsenal in the English Premier League. Well, so
Razak, that's one of those matches I wish both teams actually lose.
You always say this. I don't know how that's possible, how 2 teams can play and lose.
But thank you very much for bringing us sports. In our climate focus tonight, maize yields have increased for farmers in the Achema and Wabia, just south district of the Ashanti region, by 38% compared to the national average. The Promoting Agroecological Practices for Improved Maize Production and a Healthy Environment project has directly benefited 550 farmers and impacted over 2,000 others indirectly. About 87% of farmers exposed to the agroecological technologies have expressed interest in adopting and scaling up these practices in their farms. Mahmoud Muhammad Nuruddin has more.
All that we have been doing is bringing the practitioners here, showing them the processes and the value. But then we realize that if we don't take care, we'll continue to be confronted with the challenge of still changing the mindset of the elderly, changing the mindset of the elderly producers. So we have also targeted the young ones, right from the basic schools through to the agricultural colleges, to give them an exposition.
The preference study shows that about 87% of the people who have been exposed to our technologies, our agroecological technologies, have expressed the desire to adopt and to scale it at their farm level. And that percentage is very high. So we are very, very hopeful that with additional support in terms of funding, we will be able to scale out these agroecological practices to other areas.
PAPISHI, or the Promoting Agroecological Practices for Improved Maize Production and a Healthy Environment Project, is an initiative aimed at changing farming in the Achoma-Wabenja South District. Established at CD, the project focuses on agroecological practices that enhance sustainability, increase yields, and benefit the environment. Dr. Kofi Boa is the director for the Center for No-Till Agriculture.
Frequent plowing, hoeing, turning the whole area down is not good, because we need to actually help stabilize the structure of the soils. Structural stability is very, very important in soil health building, and that is why we emphasize no-tillage farming. Then we make sure that the soils are covered, pretty much covered all year round. And so, whenever we prepare the land, coming from the natural vegetation, we leave everything on the ground to form a carpet of mulch on the soil surface.
For steel, let's go to Agbogboshi now.
Yes, indeed. Scrap dealers, they have reclaimed the former Agbogboshi onion market site, which was demolished nearly 5 years ago. Now, despite lacking official authorization, the group expressed confidence that the current NDC administration will not oppose their return because the land has been idle for a while. My colleague Sweetie Apochi was there earlier today. She interacted with some of the scrap dealers. Let's listen.
Less than a year ago, we did a report for you on the Joy News channel about scrap dealers and onion sellers who were displaced and were moved to Ajen Kotoku and the rest. But this morning, we are hearing that there are plans underway, as my cameraman will show you later, that there are structures here that shows that they are planning to return back to the same place that was demolished a little over, I think, 4 years ago or so. But the chairman is here with me. I want to hear the story from his own mouth. Chairman, thank you so much for speaking to us. I've seen structures. I've seen lots of people here. What's happening?
Grateful. You are welcome. We are here because we were here before. We've been here for over 30 years before MPP came and evicted us from here. So they forcibly evicted us. Even the relocation hasn't done. They have done nothing of that sort. They only relocate onion sellers, but they didn't relocate scrap dealers. And we suffered a lot in their hand. So a change of government has come, whom we've worked with several years when we were here. So I think it is good for us to come and replan how to sit, so that when the government is very certain, then they come for us to start our whole agreement.
You started by saying the NPP moved you, but I remember it was Henry Korte who was then the Greater Accra, yes. And so they said that they had plans to redevelop this place, Agenda 111 Hospital. In fact, we did a comprehensive report on this place, and at the time we came, the wall, the one that brings you into the Fadama Clinic, was still up. And so those were some of the complaints. What assurances did you get, for which reason you want to return back here?
But you can see the vast of the land. The land is there. They did nothing on the land. They removed us forcibly, but did nothing on the land. It is turned to rubbish dump. Nothing else. Yeah, it was very bushy. I will give you videos. Initially, we couldn't even come here to stand, as we are standing here. So we are here because we were here. And the government of the day, I think, will support our businesses, because they were supporting us then.
You say you think will support, which means they haven't given you a go-ahead to come back?
No, not to come back. For them, coming back, it is not their priority. We have to come back. Well, we were here. Let me tell you, we were evicted here because of support base, political abuse. Tell me, if it's not political abuse, what have you done here? Which of the agenda, 77 or 99 or 11, what have they done here? Nothing else. Then to turn here to rubbish dump. So I think we are here because NDC government is a government that supports small-scale businesses like ours.
Well, we've been receiving some of your comments, and Ken, I'm just reading some of them. This is coming from Spintex, Nana from Spintex Road, and he says, why is the NPP afraid of oral? Certainly, they've acquired all that there is to grab in Accra. Musa from Asawasi also says, why is the minority so afraid of oral? Whether it has legal backing or not, if you're truly innocent and not part of any looting brigade, there's no reason to run away.
And Sam Bannerman from the United States also says that John Dako asking the former government officials to boycott the oral committee invitation is very unfortunate. If the former government officials believe they have nothing to hide, why will they disregard oral invitation when they are called? And this is from Walaku at Adidome. He says, by law, the one the whistleblower reports to is not by any provision mandated to invite the person alleged to have committed a crime.
Well, to other stories now, the National Labour Commission has confirmed that it was unable to meet the striking Colleges of Education Teachers Association of Ghana to continue negotiation talks due to the absence of education, finance and labour and employment ministers as a result of the change in government.
Well, the Executive Secretary of the Commission, Ofosu Asamoah, says the arbitral award CTAG is demanding, for which reason they have embarked on strike, can only be addressed if the sector ministers from the three ministries are present during negotiations.
Meaning of the strike, we invited them today. This strike is as a reward of an award, arbitral award that was given the CTAC last year or so. Now, at a point in time, the government did not honor its part of the deal by paying the arbitral award. So CTAC threatened strike. Based on that, the National Labour Commission went to court to enforce. But one problem for now is that this is a new government in place. We don't have the minister in place. And then the amount involved, I don't think that we need to director can work on it. So we have applied for the hearing notice, a bit for the case to proceed for the enforcement of the award that the commission gave. However, we anticipate some difficulty within this short space of time because the amount involved is quite big, and I think the government will have to settle down to do that. Yes, that is a probable problem that is likely to arise. Because certainly the government must be represented, and in this case, their employers is the Ministry of Education. I don't think we have an education minister in place. I don't think we have a minister of employment in place to handle this matter.
Meanwhile, CTAC President Maxwell Bunu says it expects negotiations to resume after January 20th. After today's meeting, unfortunately, did not come up. Maxwell added that the strike will not be called off until their demands are met.
Well, we are engaging for now. So we ask that engagement to be completed on the 20th. So they can re-invite us after 20th. We don't know exactly what date they are going to fix. Reopening is on 27th of this month.
Okay.
And the main reason for which the students' initial date of reopening, that's 18th of November 2024, was actually deferred to 30th January was because they have not been able to migrate us as a government then. So they are aware that they needed to speed up the process to ensure that staffs of the College of Education are migrated onto the university salary structure. So we told them that even though they have deferred the reopening last year, the new date will also come very soon. So they need to take steps to actually comply with the arbitral award as granted to us on 2nd May 2023. But I think you are aware that the 13th January came and still the issue was still outstanding. So we're only hoping, against hope, that they will take steps to get the migration done before 27. And if that is done, I'm sure that can give some hope to our people that they are listening, and therefore the remaining issues could be considered. Yeah.
Well, that's CTAC President Maxwell Bunu there. Principals of Colleges of Education Ghana, PRINCOF, have also been reacting, and they have indicated that they will engage CTAG and other stakeholders to ensure the issues are resolved before school reopens on January 27th. Professor Samuel Atintonu is president of PRINCOF.
Yes, even this postponement that came due to some reasons have actually affected the academic calendar. The academic calendar Stand has to be revised in order to be able to accommodate this time changes. Yes, the academic calendar definitely is going to be affected because we were supposed to start with the academic year for level 100 to level 213 of January. So definitely this would negatively impact on the academic calendar, and if care is not taken, just like last year what happened, there are going to be some extensions that would greatly affect students in the colleges.
So we had the Swale Razak, who's the president of the Teacher Trainees Association of Ghana, saying that if it drags beyond the 27th January reopening date, it is going to affect the academic calendar. And Faustina, let me leave you.
Yes, leaving me with Akofa.
Hi, Faustina.
So much today from Strong and Sassy.
Yes, indeed we are. So last week we began a conversation finding out why people can't stick to their New Year's resolutions, why they can't stick to the goals they set. We had an amazing conversation and we're continuing. So this time around, we're taking a look at how to attain excellence. So we're building off from where we left off last Wednesday. We're hoping that our listeners join us again. Yeah, so we have a wonderful conversation.
I'm looking forward to that, and I'm hoping that you do something on weight loss because I've been trying so hard.
So
it's part of it actually New Year resolution. I'm not sure I'm doing well so far.
I think we are in the same boat because a bit of the conversation actually happened last Wednesday. You know, our guests were touching on the fact that we need to extend grace to ourselves and, you know, not really be hard on ourselves when we're not able to achieve our goals. So we'll talk about it further, you and I. Yeah, we have to get into
me, though? I also want to lose weight.
It's okay. And that's how we leave the studio, and we leave you in the great hands of Akofa for Strong and Sassy. My name is Faustina Savin, and I've been doing this with
Kenneth Jesse.